Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. We are in Amrutanubhava, chapter 7, Ajnana Khandana, denial of ignorance. Meaning, denial does not mean we are into denial. No. Denial means recognizing that there is nothing called ignorance and therefore not being affected by ignorance or by the effects of ignorance, namely desire and karma, namely speech, namely convictions, namely logic, namely the world. लगे रहो उसके बाद और क्या. So we are in the 6th verse. आणि ज्ञान हि जे म्हणिजे ते अज्ञानची पादुजे एक लपवूनी दाविजे एक नव्हे. And what is referred to as jnana is also ajnana. Each one projects the other by hiding itself. Huh? Each one projects the other by hiding itself. The husband projects the wife and blames the wife for everything. The wife projects the husband and blames the husband for everything. Same here also. Now, Sant Jnaneshwara administers another shock therapy to shake us out of our complacency in being satisfied with a superficial understanding of ignorance as the opposite of knowledge. Unless there is very clear understanding, such hasty conclusions will only lead to confusion. As Kathopanishad says, it is only by purification of the mind and intellect that comprehension of the Atma is possible. Comprehension of the Atma, mind and intellect can never comprehend the Atma, can never know the Atma. Then what is said by purification of mind and intellect? When all the flux of mind and intellect comes to a stop, there the Atma reveals. That is what is it. What is said. Mind is nothing but pure consciousness, believing itself to be a thinking because the thoughts are coming in the mind. Thinking itself to be absence because there is absence between the thoughts. So where is the attention of the mind? On only the surface where the thoughts are coming and going. But what is its true nature? It is of the nature of consciousness, which is not other than the self. That's what we are doing. So where are our thoughts coming? Only on the periphery. What do you mean? My body is on the periphery, my mind is on the periphery, this world is on the periphery, this senses and mind and intellect and my relationships and possessions, all these are on periphery. The earlier you accept it, the better. the longer you take to accept it, live miserably. Tathastu. It is so. Just as the waves are only on the surface of the water, water is deep, 14 kilometers deep. The deeper you go, less is the impact of the waves. The deeper we are in ourselves as the consciousness, lesser is the impact of the, the mind and intellect. See? So Jnaneshwar Maharaj says here that what we normally refer to as knowledge is nothing but another form of ignorance. Which knowledge are we talking about? Thought knowledge. Thoughts are an effect of ignorance. As much illusory the husband is, that much illusory the wife also is. See? Both are existing in illusion. Is that how you speak to the husband? I am your Lord. Is that how you speak to me? Without me, you cannot be an husband. Lage raho. But what is the status of both of them? Man or woman is real. Husband and wife are unreal. What is the status of knowledge and ignorance? Unreal. Because they come and go. Then what is the, just as man or woman was the real, what is the real behind? It is the pure consciousness. So here Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, the same ignorance sometimes manifests as knowledge and sometimes as ignorance. Our understanding, our biggest fault in assessing ourselves is we are the mind. We do not accept we are the self. And when we say, no, I am me, that also is in the mind only. I am I also is in the mind only. When we say I am the self, that self, word self, is also in the mind only. Remember the words devalued, the previous chapter, 5th chapter. So all communication that we are having at the mental level, at the mind level, and all communication at the mind level is by way of thoughts, is an expression of, not only effect, is an expression of ignorance alone, because cause alone expresses as effects. See? So the same ignorance sometimes manifests as knowledge and sometimes as ignorance. This is referred to in Sadachara verse 5 as Jnana Ajnana Vilasaha, the interplay of knowledge and ignorance, of projecting and veiling, of Vikshepa and Avarana, or of non-apprehension and misapprehension, of self-forgetfulness and then projection. See? So what is this self-forgetful? We have forgotten who we are, therefore we are projecting we are the husband, therefore we are projecting we are the wife. Now leave that husband-wife coming together in the mind. No, leave that now. Now husband is coming because we have forgotten we are the man. We have given importance to someone else. We have accepted we are the body because we have forgotten that we are the body, the Panchakoshas, because we have forgotten we are the conscious principle. We do not know that the substratum of this plurality is Paramatma Tattva. Where is this plurality? What is the source of the Vibgaric colors in the sky? It is the light. Which light? The, the pure light of the sun, isn't it? That alone is appearing as the seven colors. What is the substratum of all the various ornaments which are beautiful to look at? It is the gold, which is lending form to every ornament. What is the substratum of all the waves and oceans? It is the water. What is the substratum of all the thoughts and absence of thoughts? In other words, what is the substratum of knowledge and ignorance? You will say it is mind. But what is the substratum of the mind? Mind cannot express by itself. You know there is mind. You know there is thoughts. So what is the basis? What is the foundation on which this river of thoughts and no thoughts is taking place? Like Ganga ji cannot flow without a river bed. So what is that bed? What is that basic foundation on which the river of knowledge and ignorance is flowing? What is that foundation on which the river of waking, dream and deep sleep? Waking and dream, knowledge; deep sleep, ignorance. What is the basis on which it is happening? Is it happening by itself? Can it happen apart from you? Or is it all these three are happening in you? See? So that substratum is the self, is the conscious principle, and that I am. We do not know the substratum of this plurality is Paramatma Tattva, one without a second. So this is called self-forgetfulness. This is called non-apprehension of reality. This is called as what you call Ajnana. This is called ignorance. Ajnana is equal to incomplete knowledge, is equal to non-comprehension, is equal to self-forgetfulness. This is Ajnana. Of what? Of the self. Of who we essentially are. See? If you say you are the self, then allow the self to manifest in its fullness. And what is its fullness? It is all that there is. So if it is, you are not experiencing yourself as you are all that there is, then there is some error somewhere, some corruption somewhere. To correct that corruption is why we are reading it. Reading these texts, studying these texts, contemplating on them. Because of this ignorance, we project something else as real, and therefore that knowledge is also ignorance. So ignorance is non-comprehension. Projection is on account of not knowing what is, then projection begins. Not knowing, not recognizing that everything is water, we project a wave and a ocean. Why? Our attention is on the form. Our attention is not on the substratum of the form. Our attention of the mind is hijacked by the beauty of the ornament, and we are not available to the gold. Therefore, we pay through the nose, because we pay for the form, we don't pay for the gold. The goldsmith buys the gold, he doesn't pay you for the form when you go and return the ornament. Recognize this. And at a very subtle level, where is the form? Thought is the form. This projection is given validity even up to the point of reality. This projection. What is the projection? Self is Satchidananda Swarup, self is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swarup, self is infinite, self is self-knowing, self is this, and we keep that only as a thought knowledge in our mind. And therefore doing great disservice to ourselves, to our being. Keep remembering when we say these words. What is the conclusion? I think, therefore I am is the wrong conclusion. I am, therefore thinking is happening. I am means being. Thinking is the phenomena. And thinking is thought, no thought, thought, no thought, thought, no thought. And where is this taking place? If you give attention to this thought, no thought, thought, no thought, then that is where the mind is. But if you are attentive or you are being the self, then whether that phenomena of thought, no thought comes and goes, you are not affected. Why? You are abiding in the self. Remember, self is of the nature of knowledge. And we are seeking the self through the mind knowledge, which is thoughts. It will never come about unless we are not clear that the words, the thoughts in the mind are indicating something that is beyond the mind, which I am already. This must be very crystal clear, otherwise we'll just make a mess of ourselves. Yesterday someone I met, and yesterday we had a workshop on meditation on being the self by dissolving the 5 elements here in Harris Park. So one Westerner was there. He and his wife, they organized talks for me and Swamiji in their house. And he's a devotee of a great master. But the question after the meditation was over, Swamiji, for last many years, whenever I go into meditation, whenever I do my practice, I always go to sleep. I don't know. He didn't say sleep. I don't know where I am. I just vanish. I don't know. So I said, you want the truth or you want a story? Because he's elderly. He is elder to me and a teacher for many people. He said, no, Swamiji, tell the truth. I said, I didn't say you. I said, the symptoms show when you say, I don't know, that the mind is going to sleep. He says, I have thought so also. But the only thing that I have is this practice which I have been doing for the last so many decades, which means I have been sleeping, not meditating. I said, you answer that question. Why should I answer? See? So it has become a default. The moment mind stops, instead of remaining aware, go to sleep. So where is the attention? Attention is on silence. Attention is on objectivity. And what is that objectivity? Absence. When our attention is on absence, sleep alone will come. We have to remain awake. And to remain awake, Maunam Vyakyat Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam. But he says, I'm getting old. My body is breaking down. In meditation, the body aches and pains. I said, let the body go through whatever it has to go through. Let the mind go through whatever it has to go through. You think Ramana Maharishi or Maharishi, even Maharishi Mahesh Yogi or Ramakrishna Paramhans or Nisargadatta Maharaj or many other masters. Even Chinmayananji, he had a heart attack. Others some of them had cancer. Does it mean that they did not feel the pain? They felt the pain. The mind felt the pain. But where is your attention? Is your attention on the pain? Or is your attention on the self? So then I asked him, do you sleep at night? He says, yes, I sleep at night. He says, I said, but it is it's not continuous. Maximum I can sleep is 2 hours. Oh my God, I said, for 2 hours you are able to sleep. Fantastic. For 2 hours you were unaware of the pain of your body. Which means there is a capacity within you that you can be unclutched from the body for a duration of 2 hours. So that ability is already there. So allow the mind to sleep, you remain awake. We tend to go to sleep. Why? On the seat of meditation? Because it is peaceful. Silence is peaceful. No, silence is not peaceful. Conscious silence is even more peaceful. That is the true source of peace. How can ignorance be peaceful? It is only temporary. For no reason, some disturbance will come in that absence. Some disturbance will come in that silence. We want to get to a point, or we want to recognize that we are who are undisturbed by silence or no silence. Oh, so I have that capacity. Yes, you have. Only thing is you have to remain awake. But I'm stuck in my practice. I feel I have not, my day is not complete if I don't sit in meditation. I said, sit in meditation and go to sleep. And I am not there to rub it in them. I said, opportunity for you to wake up. You decide you want to wake up with the last breath, remain awake at the last breath of your life, or you want to wake up in your next life, or there is a possibility you can wake up now. You are right now. He says, how? I said, you are awake right now. Don't allow these doubts which are in your mind to disturb you. Be happy that you are alive, that you are awake. See? This projection is given validity up to a point of, even up to the point of reality. This projection, what is the projection? That Atma is called Atma. The word Atma is only used to counteract Anatma. Sat is used to counteract Asat, and so on. That is why Buddha Maharaj called it Shunya. It cannot be talked about. That's why Dakshinamurti says Maunam Vyakyat, cannot be talked about. No words can reveal it. Yet words are used. It is not against words or no words. But you remember, but you are that. You are that principle, you are that essence, you are that which is beyond words or no words, thoughts or no thoughts, knowledge or ignorance. This is the meditation we did this morning. In this sport, one gets lost in the superimposition instead of knowing the substratum. Instead of knowing the gold, one gets lost in the names and forms and glitter of the ornaments. When the misconception is rejected and the attention is turned to the substratum, Ajnanam disappears. The superimposition, the pseudo knowledge also disappears, and the pure consciousness, the pure I, alone manifests in its own glory. Just as Ishvara creates the creation without getting affected by the creation he has created, same way a goldsmith creates beautiful ornaments but doesn't get influenced by the ornaments. His attention is always on the gold. Isn't it? But when your mind creates the whole creation in the waking or in the dream, it gets identified with the waking or the dream and creates what you call, inflicts itself with the misery. Have the attitude of the goldsmith. So what is the material that has gone into the creation? The self. How is the self making the creation? By using its potentiality, the mind. Remain attentive of the self. Be the self. The moment you forget that you are the self, that very moment your attention will be in giving validation to the mind which is expressing as thoughts or no thoughts. That very moment it will begin that way. This is a very subtle point. In meditation, same thing happens. Oh, I am. Again, thought only.
Alert from calendar. Western Australia Day.
Nothing wrong
Western Australia.
to say I am. But repetition is not required. One indicator, I am. Be subjective, dive into yourself or be yourself, and that's it. So what are names and what are the ornaments? A superimposition on the gold. What are waves? Superimposition on the waters. What are thoughts? Superimposition on the consciousness. When you touch the wave, it is nothing but water. Then why you're calling it wave? Because your attention is on beginning and end. Your attention is on the form. So when you touch yourself, where is your attention? Is it on the consciousness, the substratum? Or I'm touching my body. I can observe my breath. I can observe my thoughts. But where is your attention? On the thoughts. We are asking, be the observer. Don't give value to the thoughts. No, the thoughts are a phenomena. No, the thoughts are expressions of the mind. Mind is nothing but many different words are there. Ignorance is there, Maya is there, incomplete knowledge is there, absence is there. So many different words. All mean the same. देखो, so therefore, Jnanam and Ajnanam are both in the form of the Triputi or Vritti Jnanam, that is, knowledge through the medium of thoughts. In the kingdom of pure consciousness, Jnanam and Ajnanam have no value, Sadachar. So, what is the status of Jnanam and Ajnanam? What is the status of presence and absence, knowledge and ignorance? That both are in the form of the Triputi. Knowledge also appears, I don't know. Thoughts appear, I know the thought was there. So you are the observer, thoughts are the observed, and observing is going on. Absence also, you are the observer, and because your attention was on the thoughts, now it is on, there is nothing. So nothing is not a thing, but yet you have made it into a thing as an idea in your head that I am observing nothing. So I, the subject, nothing, the object, and observing. This is the subject, object, and the instrument, the Triputi. And as long as we are remaining in the Triputi, we are at the surface. You have to be the substratum. In the kingdom of pure consciousness, Jnanam and Ajnanam have no value. When we give validity that I know nothing when there is absence, that in deep sleep there was nothing. You have given validity to deep sleep by making that statement. Why? You were there. Why didn't you say that I am still there? Mind went to sleep. But instead, what do we say? I went to sleep. Which I went to sleep? The one who's appearing in the mind as I. The substratum doesn't go to sleep. I am awake now. Who has become awake? That who had gone to sleep feels as if he has become awake. But there is no connection between waking and dream or deep sleep. The I who went to sleep is different. The I who woke up is different. But we create an imaginary continuity. Just like that, these three words, just like that, have no connection between each other than an imaginary connection that just like that is a continuum of a particular statement or whatever. Aham, I am that. Oh my God. But I has got nothing to do with am, has got nothing to do with that. Each one is independently existing. When you say I, the Triputi was created. Am, again the Triputi was created. That, again the Triputi was created. The triad was created. See, this is going very fine. It requires a very quiet mind to catch this, what we are just now saying. If you catch it, fantastic. You should be able to, because you have been listening and contemplating for a long time. We give value to the thoughts, therefore they play havoc in our life or on the seat of meditation, because we have given value. How do you give value? By giving your attention. Withdraw the attention. Be the self. If the attention goes, oh, now I'm not giving attention. Again, I am not giving attention is again giving attention to thoughts. Now there is nothing. Still it is giving attention to nothing, which is also a thought. in spite of all this drama going on in the mind, be. You have never come, you have never gone. You are the one who is always. You have never become self that you are. The substratum that you are has never become less, never become more. Because there are thoughts appearing, you have not become less. Because there is silence, you have not become more. You are the continuous one. There you go. At this moment, just listening also, we are all in meditation. You don't have to close your eyes. Even though I'm smiling, you are blinking, but it is not making a deep impact on your mind. Your attention is on being right now, because all thoughts are leading towards that. In fact, it's not all thoughts. What thoughts are indicating you are being that. That's the communication that is taking place here right now. See? Therefore, whether one talks of knowing or not knowing something, it is objective knowledge and are different forms of the same ignorance. So, appearance of thought and absence of thoughts is both an expression of ignorance alone. Remember, when we say expression of ignorance, what is ignorance? Mind is ignorance. Wherever there is duality, there is ignorance. Wherever there is triputi, there is ignorance. Jnaneshwar Maharaj uses the word ajnan very liberally. He says, in a different way, he says incomplete knowledge. So because of incomplete knowledge of the self that I am, the substratum that I am, therefore I'm indulging in ignorance and its expression, which is knowledge and no knowledge, which is thought and absence of thoughts. Who is saying all this? The one who is established in the self, which is Jnaneshwar Maharaj. He is not saying it from some book. Many people bypass this text. Many people have not heard about it because all the scriptures that you have heard, oh my God, karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, patram pushpam phalam toyam, do the puja, do the meditation, dhyayanta vishayan pamsaha, oh, I have to remove kama krodha lobha moha mada matsarya. How many things will you handle in life? What are all scriptures? Nothing but thoughts. Ultimately, we have to give them up also. But why we are using them? So that we can come to this clarity as to our own essential nature. Why? Am I not already that which I am seeking? Yes, but we have invested in the waking more than dream and deep sleep. We have invested in relations and possessions more than required. We have invested in being the body and the mind more than it is required. And therefore, we are sabotaging our own happiness in that manner. Now, Sant Jnaneshwar Maharaj moves on to analyze the status of ignorance. Aso ataha prastavo adhi ajnanacha thandola ghevo magataya sachi laho jnanahi latke. This much introduction is enough. All this was introduction about ignorance. Come, what is its status? Don't worry about what is the status of ignorance. It is existing in its own absence. There is nothing called ignorance. This much introduction is enough. Aso ataha prastavo. Now then, let us first investigate into the nature of ignorance. Adhi ajnanacha. Adhi now. Ajnanacha thandoza ghevo into the nature of ignorance. Let's inquire. Then the knowledge will also be proved to be an illusion. So first we invoke the knowledge to remove the ignorance. So why do we study the scriptures? So that we remove the ignorance that I am father, mother, daughter, sister. I remove the ignorance that I am body, breath, mind, intellect, and reaffirm that I am the self. Then I give up the thought I am the self also. Understand this simple? Without going into too much words. Give up the virtual, give up the illusory, understand you are the absolute, and then give up the idea of the absolute and be the absolute. Simple 3-step. Only these 3 steps is all studies and all exercises, techniques, whatever. Whether it is karma marg, whether it is bhakti marg, whether it is kundalini marg, whether it is gyan marg, it's all leading to this simple statement which I just made. देखो कहीं पे लिख के रख लो, ये है. All your studies, all your meditation must lead to that. That is the process and umbrella view of everything that you are doing in your spiritual journey. But we become focused on what we are doing rather than being. Enough of this introduction. Let us now find out what the status of ignorance is. We will then discover that knowledge is not real, and the knowledge as explained in the above OVs is as much an illusion as ignorance is. So everything that we have said before in the 6 verses as regards the self as well as the not self is all expression of the ignorance alone. And ignorance has got no standing. It cannot exist by itself. You are. So don't give it too much value. I have to remember this. I have to by heart this. Then I can teach others. Then I can remember it when I am on the seat of meditation. You are going the wrong way. Now begins the analysis of ignorance. He ajnana jnanate angi cha ahe zithe zethe asetayate nena kana kari. If the ignorance is residing in knowledge, then why doesn't it take that substratum ignorant? Then why doesn't it make that substratum ignorant? If ignorance is residing in knowledge, how do you know ignorance as ignorance? By the word ignorance. Words are knowledge for us, but words are expression of ignorance. फंस जाओगे सोच सोच के. Words are expression of ignorance. Then if we are using the word substratum and the word substratum or Atma or Paramatma, these words themselves are an expression of ignorance, then how come Atma, Paramatma, Ishvara, they don't become ignorant? Because words are expression of ignorance, understand? कभी सोच, you must have never thought in this manner. If one were to say that ignorance is the very nature of the consciousness, then the question arises, wherever ignorance is, why does it not make the substratum that is supporting it? Why does it not make the substratum that is supporting it also ignorant? So, what is the substratum? Whose Shakti is Trigunatmika. How come the Ishwar doesn't become Trigunatmika? How come the Ishwar is not affected by Sattva Rajas Tamas? How come he remains the same? If Shakti is inseparable from Ishvara, then Ishvara also must be affected by the three gunas. If mind is also consciousness, then whatever is appearing on the mind must affect the consciousness also, the substratum also. Because mind is not separate from the Mahatma. Atma is consciousness, mind is consciousness. Consciousness with thoughts is called mind, mind without thoughts is called consciousness. Then how come the substratum is not affected? If darkness is covering an object, the object loses its presence. If the darkness is covering the object loses its presence. Very simple. Put a dark cloth over your head, you can't see anything. Very simple. Close your eyes, there is only darkness right now. Close your eyes, there is only darkness in front. You have covered your vision. All you see is, you can't see the various independent objects. Nothing is available to you. I'm not talking about imagination, just this physical world. The moment you close your eyes, nothing physical, no forms are available to you. So here when he says that if the darkness is covering an object, here the moment your eyelids close, there is darkness, objects are not available. The objects lose its presence, they are unable to impact you. They are unable to form, appear as form on your eyes. See? That is, similarly, if ignorance is the very nature of knowledge, and if ignorance is covering the knowledge, why does the pure consciousness also not become ignorant? If a cloth is put on us and all the objects of the world become unavailable to us, then when ignorance, which cannot exist without the substratum, when it is covering the substratum, which is not apart from the substratum, why the substratum does not become ignorant? It is like questioning, because the eclipse is taking place on the sun, why the sun doesn't become dark? Without the sun, you cannot see the eclipse, right? Without the sun, you cannot see the eclipse. Eclipse is darkness. It covers the sun. Then why does the sun sun is not called as dark sun? Or why and we use the word sun is eclipsed, but we never say the sun has become dark. So if ignorance, which is expressing as thought knowledge, and both ignorance and knowledge cannot express without the substratum, why the substratum does not become ignorant? This is the question. See. Continuing the thought, Ajnane zetha asave, tene sarvanena bhave, aisi zati swabhave, Ajnanachi. Wherever there is ignorance, it tends to cover everything. This is the very nature of ignorance. So, what is the nature of eclipse? Wherever it goes. If it goes to the sun, it will cover the sun. If it goes to the moon, it will cover the moon. Wherever the cloth goes on top of this head, it will cover the vision. If it goes on your head, it will cover your vision. That is the nature of covering, that it hides whatever is. It hides whatever is. It hides the substratum. It hides the source itself. It hides the foundation. So here when he says, wherever there is ignorance, it tends to cover everything. Very simple. Your eyes are looking at the whole world. A simple finger, if it is so small, it is only part of the whole world. A minuscule part of the whole creation, which is illumined by your eyes. But this small finger you can take, and you keep bringing it in front of your vision, it will cover your vision of the whole creation. Isn't it? Such a small finger. Such a small finger. In the same manner, a simple thought, one thought, is enough to cover and take you for a ride. It will not allow you to, it will cover who you are. How big is that moon compared to the sun? When the eclipse happens, how big is the moon compared to the sun? Sun is 1,000 times bigger than the moon, isn't it? Yet that small moon comes in front of the sun and covers the whole sun. The small finger comes in front of the eyes, covers the whole vision of the creation. Similarly, one thought, minuscule thought, an irrelevant thought comes and covers the self, which is of the nature of light. Because of that covering, because of the moon, has the sun lost its luminosity? You are not able to see it, but the sun is still of the nature of light. Even if the finger is covering the eyes, the vision is still there, temporarily covered by this. The self is all-knowing, but appears as if not knowing because of the thoughts, because of the presence and absence of thoughts. Again, understand, presence is also a word, absence is also a word. Both are thoughts. Ignorance is also a word, knowledge is also a word. Both are thoughts. And what is our pursuit? I don't want to be ignorant. I want to know myself. I don't want to be ignorant. I don't want to know myself. I'm not the world. I'm not the body. I'm not the breath. I'm not the mind. I'm not the intellect. I am the self. Now what to do on the self? Go to sleep. Everything is a thought only. Allow the mind to go through its drama. You remain awake. You be. Anyway. Because the rule is that wherever there is ignorance, the substratum, the pure knowledge, tends to get covered by it in the form of non-knowledge. Wherever there is ignorance, the substratum, which is pure knowledge. Pure knowledge, the self, the Atma, the Sun, the vision. I'm just, ultimately, it is the pure self. But all these are examples. It tends to get covered by the form of non knowledge. There is no vision in the finger, but it is able to cover. It is able to cover the vision. Vision is in the eyes. Vision is not in the finger, but it is able to cover the vision. Non knowledge able to cover the knowledge of perception. Similarly, one thought, it is only a triputi, it comes and goes, is able to cover the self. The moon, which has no light of its own, is minuscule in size, is able to cover, appears to be able to cover the huge luminous sun and make it appear as if it is dark. Same thing, exactly the same thing is happening with us. The more you give validity to the thoughts, you will remain in ignorance. So here what is Jnaneshwar Maharaj saying? That thought obsession, considering intellectual conviction, conceptualization, all is an intellectual itch. If all this study, my God, such a big book we are studying, it's all words, 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 words. Some people say also that way. But we are so hooked onto this word knowledge. So we use that word knowledge. We are so hooked into the body. So we use the body to do yoga and make it still. We are hooked onto the breath. So we use the breath and make it slow and shallow. We are hooked onto the mind as thoughts. We use the thoughts to make them Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para. Then when we come to Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti, then there is silence. Then we use the silence to be the observer of the silence. Then we see the big picture, that absence and presence. Presence of thoughts and absence of thoughts. Both are a phenomena. And not get carried away by it. When we give validity to the absence, then fear comes in. Then unsettlement. Then I have to do something, I have to do something, I have to do something. Or inside on a seat, suddenly the mind will go into some imagination and some fear will come up. Because identification has not been dropped. You're still, all you have done is first you are thinking of the thoughts, now you're not thinking the thoughts. But what Jnaneshwar Maharaj or Adi Shankaracharya or all other masters are saying, use the thoughts and the absence of thoughts, use them as a pole vault to dive into the self. So our attention from the thoughts must come to the substratum. Where majority people go wrong is they shift their attention from thoughts to no thoughts. Scriptures and masters are saying no thought, absence of thought, ignorance and knowledge. As much as you are denying knowledge, ignorance is also a thought in your mind that also needs to be denied. Don't give it validity by thinking about it. If at all you want to think, be. I am. In spite of everything. If one were to say that ignorance is the very nature of the consciousness, where are we? We are in the 8th or the 9th? If darkness is covering an object, the object loses its presence. I've explained that in detail now. Similarly, if the ignorance is the very nature of knowledge, and if ignorance is covering the knowledge, why does the pure consciousness also not become ignorant? Okay, we saw that. Now we are in the ninth verse. Because the rule is that wherever there is ignorance, the substratum, the pure knowledge, tends to get covered by it in the form of non knowledge. This is what I was explaining. That is the nature of the ignorance. If that is so, then why is the Atma Tattva, pure consciousness, not becoming ignorant? This is the question that being posed by our Swamiji Maharaj or Jnaneshwar Maharaj. Ignorance being an object of knowledge, absence being an object of knowledge, nothing being an object of knowledge, emptiness being an object of knowledge, it is inert. Understand? Ignorance is inert. This finger was inert. That moon which has got no light of in it, it is also inert. Inert is ignorance. Oh, but inert and subtle and all expressions of inertness only. Gross, subtle, causal, all expressions of ignorance only. Don't get lost in it. Oh, we have to move from tamas to rajas, from inertness to dynamism, from dynamism to knowledge, which is sattva. In the end, sattva, rajas, tamas, all are effects or expressions of ignorance alone. Just because you are not able to come catch it in the first go, so the whole thing is diluted for you. Acha, 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 acha. That ignorance is sattva, rajas, tamas. Now you move from tamas to rajas, from rajas to sattva, and then you give up sattva also. And same thing is coming. You give up the inertness of the body, come to the dynamism of the breath, give up the dynamism of the breath, and come to the fluctuation of the thoughts. Give up the fluctuation of the thoughts which are subtler than the breath to the silence, and then go beyond silence. Topic is the same. Words are different. Words are different. Understand the whole shell in which all this is expressing. Jnaneshwar Maharaj has taken everything in two words: knowledge and ignorance. This is what every path is. All paths are expression of knowledge, but knowledge itself is expression of ignorance. Drop it. Then why do we continue pursuing it? Because we don't know. We don't remain as we are. We are obsessed with doing something. We are obsessed with thinking. We are obsessed with doing. We are obsessed that something has to happen. Then when we are obsessed like that, then some path, the great masters, the great scriptures have given us. Okay, follow that. That is the nature of ignorance. If there is, ignorance being an object of knowledge, it is inert. Therefore, because what is inert? What is inert? She says something that does not move is inert. I'll add something to it. Something that does not move by itself.
Doesn't have life is enough.
Does not have life. Good. Huh? So dead man does not move. It's inert. There is life. Then it is moving. So what is inert? that which does not move, that which does not have life. What are thoughts? Do they have life? Oh my God, Swami, you don't play with our mind. हाँ? मजा आ रहा है मेरे को तो अभी ऐसे सोच सोच के आई एम एंजॉइंग द कॉन्टम्पलेशन. So, are thoughts inert or are thoughts alive? Is movement a sign of life or is movement itself inert by nature? I'm asking a question.
The movement is inert, Swamiji.
Yes.
Yes, it is inert too, Swami. Yes.
Movement by nature is inert.
Because it has beginning and end. Swamiji.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. Movement is inert. Are thoughts moving? Is breath moving? Is body moving? Is waking, dream, sleep coming and going? Is that movement? Yes. All this is inert. Now you see where you have invested yourself in. Is the father, mother, daughter, sister coming and going? Yes, they are also inert. Let it sink in. Everything that you can see, hear, touch, feel, taste, imagine, intellectualize, conceptualize, know or not know, is inert. Don't give validity to it. Don't give attention to it. Don't live at the mercy of it. Therefore, if it were to cover and influence the support, the pure consciousness, then the latter should become inert. This was the question. If inertness, the question was given again. Why the pure consciousness not becoming ignorant? If the ignorance is an object of knowledge, and if it were to cover and influence the support, it is seen that ignorance is covering our self, and it is without the self ignorance cannot express, but it has hijacked the self, and it has covered the self, and we are not able to recognize that we are the self of the infinite nature. We are not of the nature of happiness. The pure consciousness then latter should become inert. But do you feel that you are inert? Do you feel that you are waker, dreamer or sleeper? Do you feel that when the thought has gone, you have also gone? Do you feel when the husband or the wife role has gone, you have also gone? Do you feel when the daughter and the son role has gone, you also have gone? Do you feel when one limb is cut, you are gone? You continue to be, isn't it? Do you feel that when memory is going, you are also going? Do you feel that? Now you're all in that age group. Or some of you are approaching that age group. That when memory is going, are you going? Or you are recognizing that memory is going? Isn't it? So inert comes and goes, but there is someone who is not coming and going. So here the student is, or Jnaneshwar Maharaj is just putting it loudly that when ignorance is going, why the substratum is not going? When the veil, when the inertness is there, which cannot be without the substratum, then why the substratum doesn't become the inert? It's like saying, if inert thoughts are there, why I don't become the inert by nature? It is not going to be possible because inertness is existing in its own absence. Ignorance is existing in its own absence. Let's see how Swamiji explains. If the support and the supported are both inert, then who will know whom? If substratum also becomes inert and the ignorance which was supported by the substratum, no, ignorance is the supported and substratum is the support. If both become inert, then who will come to know whom? That is not your experience, isn't it, at this moment? You don't feel that you are inert. You are alive. And if we have been following the topic, everything that is coming and going is inert. And I've just given you a few examples that you are not coming and going, you are continuous. The words are coming and going, the understanding is coming and going, the breath is coming and going, the roles are coming and going, the days are coming and going, the waker, dreamer, sleeper are coming and going, but you are the continuous one. So we cannot come to the conclusion that if the substratum, the question was, if ignorance cannot express without substratum, the pure consciousness, why the pure consciousness is not inert? It cannot be possible. Otherwise, who will come to know? This type of argument, we can keep pulling the hair only because we are looking outwards. We are looking at it objectively. Here, the pure consciousness, the substratum, the foundation, I am. You take it subjectively and then look at the whole topic. Then you will find that there was never a time that you were not. Ignorance comes and goes. Deep sleep is ignorance. It comes and goes every day. Ignorance comes and goes. Between two thoughts, there is absence of thought. That is ignorance. It comes and goes. So many times during the day. But because it comes and goes, you don't come and go. Because the mind, which is nothing but consciousness, in that mind, this coming and going is taking place. The mind itself, as if you take it as one unit, it also comes and goes. The waking mind, the dream mind, and the deep sleep mind. Still, I don't feel like that I have come and gone. Because I know these three have come and gone. You understand? If you say yes, you have not understood. Keno Upanishad. The one who says I know has not known. If he doesn't say if he says I don't know, then he cannot know anyway. Sit quiet. Don't nod. Now a scriptural statement about therefore knowledge cannot be covered by ignorance. Therefore knowledge, we are not talking about thought knowledge. We are talking about knowledge as it is, which is the self, the pure consciousness, the substratum, the foundation. It cannot be covered by ignorance. It cannot be covered by inertness. Not possible. I've given you enough examples. The waves cannot cover the ocean, the ornaments cannot cover the gold, the moon cannot cover the sun, the finger cannot cover the vision permanently. But it appears as if it is covered. So when you get away from the appearance and you accept that you are that substratum, then there is no question of being hooked into appearance or non-appearance, presence or absence, thought or no thoughts, knowledge or ignorance. See? Now, a scripture statement about the presence of ignorance in the Atma is taken up and analyzed. We'll look at it in our next class. I have to be somewhere by 11. मजा आ गया ना कॉन्टेम्पलेशन का? बाल सफेद हुए और thank you for allowing me to contemplate. It was just magical. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just sit quietly for a few moments. Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om, Swami.